So, another day, another MYU done. The fun thing about this era of SERA MYU is that it was the first one for a lot of us. You know, like, this was our introduction into SERA MYU. I know for me personally, Larry Conquista, the first musical in the set, was my very first MYU that I ever saw. And between that one and Petite Étrangère, I always say that wrong, sorry. But in between that is when I watched, like, the bulk of the rest of the MYUs. So it was like, it is very, very important to a lot of us, this set of MYUs. And I understand that it's very nostalgic for those of us who didn't watch the old MYUs first. With that being said, I'm going to try to take off my rose-colored glasses and look at the MYUs for how they are in the sort of sense of what a musical is and compare them to the old ones a little bit and be critical. I'm so stressed about this video because you guys are going to be mad at me. And just before we get started, I wanted to mention that I download, with the exception of the Marina musicals, which I got somewhere else, but I download all of my MYUs from missdreams.org. And a lot of people, like, have kind of, like, issues with Miss Dreams for some reason. Like, they think the translations aren't accurate or whatever. And the thing about translating is, especially from a language from, like, Japanese to English, like, the words don't mean exactly the same thing. You're going to get, like, a different kind of sentence, a different kind of connotation with whoever is translating it. And the people at Miss Dreams have always been so nice to me, and they're always so diligent about whenever a new MYU comes out. Like, they translate it as fast as they can to get it out. And so that is where I get all of my MYUs, and I will continue to get all of that. Especially since there is no, like, official MYU release with English subtitles, at least as of now. Especially if you're like me and you don't speak a lick of Japanese, this is it. Like, this is the only place that you're going to be able to get it. Other websites eventually translate the Sailor Moon things too, but Miss Dreams is always first, and they're always, like, right there, and they're so important to me, like, right there. If you want to download the MYUs, I would definitely recommend getting them from Miss Dreams, at least until we have an official way. Moving on. Okay, so before I get into this little bit that's going to make you very, very mad at me, please understand that when it comes to musicals, like, I can look at dancing and I can look at acting, but the part that is most important to me is music. And that is because, A, I just love music, but I come from a very, very, like, music-based family, a very music-based background. Like, everyone in my family plays instruments, and I'm talking, like my stepdad plays, like, all the brass instruments, my mom plays flute, my grandpa was a music teacher, like, all my sisters play an instrument, like, my dad plays an instrument, and my stepmom plays an instrument. Like, music is a big thing here, so music is first and foremost what is most important to me. And with that being said, I will always be a little disappointed when I watch these MYUs that their lead actress cannot sing. While Satomi may be perfect for Usagi in every other way, which we will talk about in a minute, it is inarguable that she cannot sing. She just can't. And you can, try to argue with me and say things like, she gets better throughout the musicals. And she does. She gets better. But she never quite gets to lead role in an internationally popular musical. Honestly, she just doesn't get there. And the other argument that I hear a lot of is, the fact that she can't sing really adds to her Usagi-ness, and I just have to completely disagree with that. Because musicals don't exist here. Musicals exist in an alternate universe where everybody can break out into song and dance, and everybody around them just knows all the choreography, and the music comes out of nowhere, and, like, in that alternate universe where musicals are a thing, everyone can sing. And the fact of the matter is that it kind of pulls me out of the musical, like, universe a little bit every time Satomi has, like, a big number by herself, and it's just not very good. And I think overall in the MYUs, I am generally underwhelmed with the vocal abilities of the cast overall. I mean, there's only a couple throughout it that I think are very, very strong singers, and they aren't any of the lead roles. And some of the Inner Senshi are definitely better than others, and I think a lot of my feelings towards the Inner Senshi's voices is very, very, like, my style, so that's not as big of a deal. Like, I don't really like Shiori, she plays Minako, don't really like her voice, like, at all, but that is just, like, a taste thing. It's like some people don't like Miyuki, and I do, like, you know what I mean? But the fact of the matter at the end of the day is that Satomi's voice really, really makes it hard for me to enjoy these musicals. And it also doesn't help that we never got, like, officially released studio recorded soundtracks that would, like, fix it, so all we ever have to listen to is, like, audio clips from the musical, and, like, if they messed up in the musical, then that's all we have. Why didn't we get soundtracks anyway? Like, what is up with that? They released DVDs, but they can't make it soundtracks? But with that being said, Satomi is perfect Usagi. perfect Usagi. Hands down. If you remove her voice from the equation, perfect. Her dancing is, like, pretty good. Like, they're all pretty good. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about dance, so if you want to hear more about dance, you might want to ask somebody who knows more about that, but I never see anything that I think looks weird, and they're all very well in sync all the time, so that's definitely a strong suit. But Satomi's strong suit is her acting. And I don't even know if I can really call it acting, because that is just who she is. She is Usagi come out of the pages, or come out of the anime. Like, 100% she has the right amount of quirkiness and dorkiness and awkward and silliness. And in the past, if you want to compare to the old musicals, you know, you look at some of the other actresses, like Anza even, as much as I love Anza, sometimes the pouty face and the crying and the falling to your knees, it's a little over the top. And Usagi is a little bit over the top, but even still, you wonder sometimes if somebody would actually do that in real life. It leaves you a little bit like, but everything about Satomi acting as Usagi is so natural and so flawless, and she gets, like, even the facial expressions down, and just, she is perfect. They could not have cast a better Usagi in that sense, like 100% through and through. The only downside is her voice, and because her acting is so good, I can get over it. And the same goes for the rest of the Inner Senshi. I mean, some of them, I feel like they don't emote enough. Like, their faces are just kind of the same the whole way through. I think about Canon specifically. She plays Rei. She does a fantastic job as Rei, but sometimes I wish there was a little bit more in her, a little bit more emotion, but that's just me. But they all look and act, but especially look like they are the characters. Like, physically, even just physically speaking, they look exactly like how you would imagine these characters to look like. I wish Sailor Moon Crystal was modeled after them, because that's how they look. They look just like, it blows my mind every time I watch one of these musicals, because, like, there have been good actresses for these roles in the past, but none of them have looked so spot on as these girls do to how they're supposed to look. It blows my mind. This set of musicals as well took a little bit of a change from the old musicals, in the sense that these musicals can be classified as, sorry if I'm saying this wrong, but it's Takarazuka, and that is essentially Japanese stage productions that only have women in the cast. And I remember when this was, like, first announced and when it first came out, a lot of people on the internet kind of took issue with that, but my question is, like, why? Most of the characters in Sailor Moon are female anyway. What is your problem with, like, the only one male character who is really in it at all having his actress gender flipped, right? Like, I don't understand why people were mad about that, because most of the villains in the old MYU were played by women anyway, even if they were supposed to be guys. Just saying. And so, speaking of that one specific main cast member whose, you know, actor became an actress, Yuga. Now, I have, like, the biggest crush on Yuga. She is just so pretty and so talented and so fantastic, but I'm going to, again, take off my rose-colored glasses and look at her performance as what it is. And I have to say that, looking at it from that way, I'm not a giant fan of how she plays Mamoru. She plays Mamoru very, like, suave and cool, and very, like he winks at the audience, and he's very, like, I don't know. It's so cheesy, but suave is, like, the only word I can think of to describe it. And I will always prefer Mamoru as, like, our dorky, silly guy. You know what I mean? That's what I love so much about Mochi. He's just so good at playing up the, like, he's cute and he's sweet, but he's a dork. And Yuga plays Mamoru a little too sexy for me. But she still does a fantastic job, and I still love her, so it's okay. So, looking at these musicals themselves, these musicals are much easier to follow than some of the old musicals are, because, in my opinion, they're easier to follow at least, because they don't add extra things, you know? If you have watched any of my other MYU videos, you know that I just hate when they do, like, those big 10-minute long musical numbers about, like, some silly side quest that doesn't really matter in the scheme of things, and I just hate those, like, the silly numbers. I just don't like them. And then the old MYUs a lot of the time would add in, like, little side villains that were supposed to be comic relief, but most of the time I just found them extremely irritating. And these new musicals don't do that at all. These new musicals are basically ripped right from the manga. It's like, this is the storyline, this is the plot line, we're going to follow it exactly start to finish, no deviations. And I really, really respect that. Now, with that being said, this is where I kind of contradict myself a little bit. The music in these new MYUs is very, like, follows that path. So it's almost like dialogue is being sung and it's telling you about the story through song, which is okay, but I do kind of miss like the songs that can stand alone that the old musicals and other musicals have. The best example I can think of is it's in one of the Marina musicals, and Marina and Mamoru sing Usagi Love Magic. That's what it's called, I think. And it's kind of just like a really cheesy like love song between the two of them. It is set away from the main storyline, but it's like on its own, it can exist as a really good song. I could listen to that song and not feel like I have to be paying attention to the plot because it's just a cute song. Whereas New Mew doesn't really do that. All of the songs pertain to the plot exactly there. And I miss that a little bit. But I don't miss the big silly numbers. I hope that makes sense. This video is already so much longer than I want it to be. So this set of Mew, the Satomi era Mew, if you will, has 3 musicals, and I'm going to absolutely butcher the names of all 3. I apologize in advance, but the first musical is called La Reconquista, and that musical is the story of the Dark Kingdom, so it's the Queen Beryl and the Shitenu and all of that. So like I said earlier, these musicals kind of follow the plot straight from the manga, so there's not a lot that I really want to talk about in a storyline sense, because that is it. It is very clear, very concise, they do all of it very well, so if you know that plot, you know what's going to happen in this musical. The fun thing about this musical is that it does introduce, for the first time in Mew, Silver Millennium Queen Serenity. Weird to me that this is her first appearance. Like, she's such a big, important part of the story that old Mew hadn't done it before. But I guess, realistically, the only other Dark Kingdom Mew was from 1994. So that was a long time ago. I was being born. And so I guess a lot has changed in how productions are put on and that sort of thing now since then. So it does make sense that this is, the first real Dark Kingdom musical. The actress that plays Queen Serenity, I would say that she is probably the standout in this musical because she has an amazing voice. To me, she's got a better voice than, like, in that musical, the rest of the cast combined. She's just so talented. She comes out and she sings, and I think she's, like, younger than me, or she's my age, so good for her. So much talent there. Love it. And the song that she sings that most people adore, it's called Stairway to the Moon, so check that out. So I do have a couple of fave songs in this musical. So the first one that I wanted to mention is called Omacine Tuxedo Mask. It's like Yuga's little Tuxedo Mask introduction song. So similar to the way that Tuxedo Royale was in the past and Tuxedo Mission, this is like her song, her chance to come out and swish her cape around a whole bunch. I am a sucker for like big musical numbers that go right before the intermission because they're usually the most fun. Like they include all the cast and they're just so dynamic. And so this musical is actually the only one on the set that really, really does it, and it's called Sailor Battle La Reconquista. And I just love it. Like, it's so much fun to see everybody on stage and they're all singing about whatever's going on in their own storyline at the time, and then bam, right at the very end of it, we get Evil Andy Mion, and that's just like, yes. Of course, no list of my fave songs would be complete without the cheesy love song. So I have to put Memory Duo on here because Memory Duo is the song between Amy and Zoisite. And I can honestly say that before this musical, I was never really a Senshi Shitenu shipper. Say that 5 times fast. But I think this musical made me one. Like, they're just so cute in this musical, and I just love them. this musical, I always butcher the name of this musical, and I always spell it wrong whenever I type it on Tumblr, and I'm Canadian. Like, I'm supposed to have a little bit of French abilities in me, and I just don't. So it's Petite Étrangère. I have no idea, but that's what it's called, and this musical follows the story of the Black Moon arc. Now, I might be a little bit biased with this musical because the Black Moon arc is inarguably my least favorite in all of Sailor Moon. I just don't find it interesting. I don't know why. I just could never get into it, so this is my least favorite musical in the set, just because it's the only of the three musicals that I ever find I get bored in. But again, that is probably just because I don't like the story. So I wanted to give a special, shout out, if you will, to the two additions to the cast in this musical. First, I wanted to talk about Black Lady, because the actress that plays Black Lady, she does a fantastic job. I've never seen anybody play Black Lady the way that she does, and I love it, because she does it the way she's supposed to, you know what I mean? She's got the, grown-up, womanly body that Chibiusa is supposed to have when she becomes Black Lady, but she's still very, very childlike, and she still sounds very childlike, and just, in her laugh, and in the way she, holds notes, you can tell that she's, a little girl put into an older person's body. And even though Chibiusa is 800 years old, we all know that she's kept her 8-year-old self mentality this whole time. And it's just it's so good. She does such a good job, and I love it. The other actress that I wanted to give a special shout out to in this one is the actress that plays Sailor Pluto, because you know what I mean? Her voice isn't always the best in this musical. It's definitely better in the next one, but in this one it's not always the best. But first of all, she, just like the Intercent, she looks just like Sailor Pluto. She is exactly the human, alive person version of what I imagine Sailor Pluto to look like in my head. So it's just, that's mind-blowing as it is. But I have a soft spot for when actresses in especially something like Sailor Moon are huge fans of the series. And it's like a dream of theirs to be in it, and they got to be in it. And in this Mew, the actress that played Sailor Mercury changed, and the actress that we get in this Mew is a big fan of Sailor Moon, and she even talks about, at the end, how she remembers watching Mew and being worried when the actress changes and stuff, and it was cool because now that was her. And so Amy and Pluto are both big Sailor Moon fans, so I already automatically just, love them even more, because it's they got to live their dream, and that's so cute. And the actress that plays Pluto, she says the cutest thing at the end, when they're all kind of talking, she says her name, and then she says, and I'm the one that they let play Sailor Pluto. They let her play. At least that was how it was translated in the version that I saw, but I'm gonna keep that forever and ever and ever, because they let her play it. That's so cute. She was so honored to be Sailor Pluto, and I just love that. So cute. So, favorite songs in this Mew, obviously Eye Candy. Who doesn't love Eye Candy? It's just this really cute poppy number that the girls get to do, and Racing's lead, so of course I love it.
Oh baby, be my eye candy.
In this musical that I love, that I don't think I've ever really heard anybody else talk about, but it's called One Heart, and essentially it's after Diamond has kind of taken advantage of Usagi, and she's sitting on the bed in the creepy dress, being all very, sad. She starts singing this song, and it's basically her singing about how she doesn't believe in herself anymore, how she let everyone down, and it's so sad. And then somehow she kind of channels the other inner Senshi, and they kind of sing to her, and they give her words of encouragement, and they basically tell her, you can do it, Usagi, we believe in you. And they all have one heart, and it's really cheesy and it's really cute, but just even I love that kind of, she doesn't believe in herself, and then by the end of the song she's I got this, I got the power, I can do this. I love that. And also just musically, the song is really interesting, and there's so many different layers to it and parts and different harmonies, and I think it's a beautiful song.
一人じゃないあなたは一人じゃない信じてうさぎ自分の力私はあなたはの女王ネオクイーンセレンティあなたが地球の未来を守るのよ
And then the last song in this musical that I wanted to mention is called Premonition, and I'm mentioning this musical because I think out of all three musicals, it is the one where Satomi's voice sounds the best, and also I adore Yuga's voice in this song, so I just listened to it to hear them sing, to be honest.
やきもちを焼くなんてわかってるそんなのダメってでもねマモちゃんなぜかいつも不安なのマモちゃんがいつか遠いところへ消えていってしまうんじゃないかってお願いマモちゃんいなくならないで
And now, for the final musical in Satomi era, this one is called Un Nouveau Voyage. As you can tell, I didn't do very well in French in school. So this musical is very different from the other two. Like, the other two are just like, they're Myus. They're very fun and kind of hokey. And this one, something about it, the whole way through it, the writing, it seems so much tighter. There's so many more stage movements. There's just, the acting is just so much more serious, and the story itself in S is so much darker, so of course that puts like this big cast over the musical, and this musical just kind of like, it stands alone, like it's so good. The other two musicals, they kind of go hand in hand, you're like, yeah, this is cute, and then you get to S and you're like, whoa. I've heard a lot of people say that this is their favorite Mew, like, of all time, and even if I might not personally agree with that, I'm, a little bit impartial to Eternal Legend, but this is a really, really good musical. Like, through and through, all of it is fantastic. And I would definitely, even if you're, like, been kind of spotty about the other music, watch this one, not this one, watch this one. It's so good. I need to talk about the actress that plays Hotaru in this Mew, because, wow. First of all, she's just like a little girl. Like, she's so young, so how is she so good? But she is so amazing. She has easily the best voice in this Mew, and probably the best voice in all the new Mews together, because she sings so much in this, so, like, 100% the best in the new Mews. And she gets to be Hotaru and Mistress 9 and Sailor Saturn, and she does a great job in all three, and she gets, like, I don't know how she does it, but there's, like, little differences in the three that you can tell that they're the same person, because really, like, even in the storyline, they're the same person, but different little facial expressions and things that just give you the little hint that they're also different. And she's just so good. And she's such a good singer. And it's just like, I hope that they continue Mew, because they probably will continue Mew, obviously. And even though the whole of the main cast is different, she needs to stick around to be Saturn. Like, anyone else can change in these whole musicals, and I need her to be Saturn. That's it. This musical, because it is the S season, it adds Haruka and Michiru into the mix, which is, everyone loves Haruka and Michiru, so, like, it's amazing. These two actors, so they play them kind of differently. Like, they definitely play them... Haruka and Michiru are always kind of dark in this arc. I rhymed. But, I don't know, there's something about these two that's just so much more serious than I'm used to seeing Haruka and Michiru. Don't get me wrong, they do a very, very good job, but I am also just coming off of the Marina musicals as well, and that was Nayo and Yuka, and they were both just so good that they set the bar a little bit too high, I think. Like, those two, I don't think anyone else for Haruka and Michiru could ever reach those two. So, like, these two are good, but they're not Nayo and Yuka. And I think as far as this musical goes as a whole, like, musically, there aren't any songs that I want to just sit down and listen to. Like, I'm not going to put any of these songs on my, various music players, because they just don't work like that. This musical is very much the music is the dialogue. But that being said, like, musically speaking, I think the styles that this musical goes for is better than the past two. They're a little bit less hokey, a little bit less cookie cutter, and a little bit, like, more dynamic and a little bit darker, and so overall I prefer the music in this musical to the other two, even if I don't want to listen to them. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I hope it does. So my favorite songs in this musical are the first and foremost, the only song that I will actually listen to, like on my own, is called A Small Sparkle, and it is between Hotaru and Chibiusa, and essentially what has happened is Chibiusa has just seen all of Hotaru's burn scars from the big accident, and basically Chibiusa was kind of a butthead and freaked out, and Hotaru was really upset because she lost her friend, and they're basically singing back and forth, and Hotaru is just, her voice blows my mind. Did I mention that she plays piano in this musical a lot, and like flawlessly and perfectly, like so much talent in this one tiny person, and yes, A Small Sparkle is like the pinnacle. 'And now I know I keep saying that I don't love like the fun, hokey, cute songs, but The Road to Infinity Academy is the song where the Witches 5 are basically trying to get the Inner Senshi and Usagi to sign up to go to Mugen. Mugen? Is that how you say that? I don't know. But they're trying to get them to go there, and as much as I don't like this kind of song usually, something about this one, like, it's very well performed. Everyone sings it really well. It's very dynamic. There's so much dancing. Like, it is a fun song to watch, and it doesn't go on for forever, and it never feels dumb, you know what I mean? Like, it still matters to the story, and I don't know, I just actually really like that one. And the last song that I wanted to mention is it's called Confrontation of the Planets. And I just like the song because it just sounds cool. Like, let's be honest. It's just, there's nothing beyond that. It just sounds cool. And so, yeah, that's really all I have to say about the new musicals. What did you think of the new musicals? What did you like? What did you not like? Please let me know down below on YouTube or on Tumblr, because I will be posting this one on my Sailor Moon blog as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time, and next time we get some new Myus, right? Bye!